Hi everyone, my name is Shai. Let's study together today. Today we are going to read the story Snow White. But before that, let me introduce the characters in the story. Snow White, the beautiful princess. The evil queen, Snow White's stepmother. The Seven Dwarfs, Snow White's friends. Snow White by Grimm's Fairy Tales, retold by Stuart A. Atkins. One winter long ago, a queen sat sewing beside a window in her castle. The snowflakes were falling outside like soft white feathers. Suddenly, she pricked her finger with a needle, and the 3 drops of blood fell onto the snow on the windowsill. The queen said to herself, "Oh, how beautiful the red looks against the snow! If only I could have a child as white as this snow, as red as this blood, and as black as this ebony window frame." And before long, the queen did give birth to a daughter with a skin as white as snow, cheeks as red as blood, and hair as black as the ebony. She was called Snow White. But the queen died not long afterward. But the king marries again. His second wife was very beautiful, but she was also very arrogant and proud of her looks. She hated to think that anyone else might be more beautiful. Every day, she would stand in front of her magic mirror and say, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" And the mirror would always answer, "My lady queen, so proud, so tall, you are the fairest one of all." The years went by, and Snow White grew more and more beautiful every day. By the time she was 7 years old, she's as lovely as sunny day, and even more beautiful than her stepmother. One day, when the queen asked Mirror, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" the mirror answered, "My lady queen is fair, it's true, but Snow White is fairer far than you." The queen was shocked to hear this. She envied Snow White for being the fairest of all, and the envy soon turned into hatred. Finally, she ordered one of her hunters to take Snow White into the forest, kill her, and bring back her liver as proof of the deed. The hunter reluctantly did as he was told, but just as he was about to kill Snow White, she cried out, "Please, have mercy on me. Just let me leave, and I will run off into the forest and never come back. I promise." The hunter let Snow White go. Then he returned to the palace with the liver of a wild boar. The queen thinks that was the end of Snow White. Left alone in the forest, Snow White ran on in the hope of finding some safe haven. Just as it was getting dark, she came across a charming little cottage. She was so tired, she went straight in to rest. Nobody seemed to be at home, but the cottage was very clean and tidy. The strange thing was that everything was so small. Snow White was very hungry and thirsty by now. So she sat at a table and took a little sip of wine from each goblet, few crumbs of bread from each plate, and just a tiny spoonful of porridge from each bowl. Then she was so tired she decided to have a little nap. She had to try all the beds until she found one that was just right. And then she fell fast asleep. Now, the owners of the cottage were 7 dwarfs. When they arrived home, they realized someone ate their food and drank their wine. But the 7th dwarf found out someone was sleeping on his bed. They were so delighted to see Snow White that they decided to leave her where she was. The next day, Snow White was frightened when she woke up and saw the 7 dwarfs. But they were so kind to her that Snow White ended up telling them everything. The 7 dwarfs let her stay in exchange for doing the chores and looking after the house for them. But the dwarfs warned her to be very, very careful. Remember, you're here alone all day. And if your stepmother finds out you're here, she may come after you. So don't let anybody in. Meanwhile, at the palace, the queen was quite sure that she was once more the most beautiful person in the world. So, she went to ask the mirror again. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? But to her surprise, the mirror answered, Queen, you are of beauty and rare, but Snow White living in a glen with the 7 little men is 1,000 times more fair. The queen realized she's been deceived, and she became very angry and began plotting a new way to get rid of Snow White. She went to a secret room in the palace and used all her magic powers to fill part of an apple with deadly poison. The next day, she arrived looking in the dwarf's cottage, disguised as a peasant woman and holding the juicy-looking apple. She knocked on the door, and Snow White came to the window. Hello, my dear. Lovely apples for sale. Fresh and juicy. Go away, Snow White said at once. I'm not to let anyone in. That's all right. I can sell my apples elsewhere. But take this one as a present anyway. Oh no, I'm not to take anything either. It's just a gift from a poor peasant woman to a lovely young girl. No need to be afraid. Why don't we share it? I'll eat the white half, and you can have the red half. The apple looked so delicious that Snow White couldn't resist, and she stretched out her hands to take the red half. After one bite, she collapsed on the floor. The queen burst out laughing and said, Ha! White as snow, red as blood, and black as ebony you might be, but the dwarves won't be able to wake you up this time. She raced back home to her mirror. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? And she was very relieved to hear the mirror reply, My lady queen, so proud, so tall, you are the fairest one of all. When the dwarfs arrived home, they find Snow White lying on the floor. Try as they might to revive her,
It seemed hopeless. The dwarfs could not bring themselves to bury such a beautiful girl in a cold, dark earth. Instead, they made a glass of coffin and gently placed her body inside. Then they wrote her name in gold, Princess Snow White. Placed the coffin in a mountainside, and at least one of them stayed to watch over it at all times.
One day, many years later, a prince happened to come riding past, and he stopped when he caught sight of a glass coffin. He begged to have the glass coffin, and he would give the dwarf whatever he wanted.
The dwarf took pity on the prince, so they agreed the prince could have the coffin. The prince ordered his servants to carry it carefully on their shoulders. Just as they set off down the mountain, the man stumbled, and the jolt dislodged a piece of poisoned apple that had been stuck all the time in Snow White's throat.
They all watched in amazement as she slowly opened her eyes, sat up, and pushed off the lid of the coffin. She was alive! The prince asked her to be his bride, and without hesitation, she agreed. And so, the splendid wedding was planned for Snow White and her prince.
Now, Snow White's wicked stepmother was also invited to feast, but she had no idea of the true identity of the bride. She dressed up in her finest clothes, and then she quickly went to look at herself in the mirror.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? And the mirror replied, Queen, you are of beauty and rare, but the bride you'll see today is young and fresh and gay, and 1,000 times more fair.
The queen was furious, and she almost smashed the mirror. At first, she was afraid to go to the wedding, but her curiosity got the better of her. When she arrived, she was horror-stricken to see the bride was none other than Snow White. The evil queen's punishment has been prepared. She had to dance in red-hot iron shoes until she dropped down dead. So Princess Snow White and the prince lived happily ever after. That's the story of Snow White. Moral lesson of the story? Vanity leads to destruction. So kids, that's all for today's video. If you want more fun videos, please subscribe to our channel.